I'm going to be predicting every single All-Star starter this year because the NBA just released the All-Star voting for 2025, and I want to go over the 10 guys that I think will be All-Star starters. So, starting it off here in the Western Conference, I think the most obvious choice for an All-Star starter, even though he's maybe not the biggest name in the NBA, but it's Nikola Jokic. I mean, he is the best player in the world, and I don't think it's too much of a debate at this point in the season. I mean, his stats are ridiculous. He's averaging 31 points per game. He's averaging 13 rebounds and pretty close to 10 assists as well. Well, shooting the ball at 50% from three, I should say, is ridiculous. I mean, Nikola Jokic will probably end up winning his fourth MVP, and he definitely is the best player in the world. Talking about all-star starters, you do have to also take into fact that it is a lot of fan voting. Now, fan voting isn't the only way that these guys get picked to be starters. It obviously comes down to coaches and the media as well. But I do think LeBron James, even though he's not playing as an all-star starter level, I still feel like will get the nod, but it seems like LeBron's always been the lead guy in the All-Star voting, so I think it'll be similar this year. Will he get the most amount of votes like he always does? I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it's LeBron James. He's still going to be an All-Star starter no matter what. Now, the other guy, the last guy in the front court here in the Western Conference, because that's the thing, it does go by position. You can't have five big men, on the West and five guards in the East. It has to be three front court and two backcourt, two guards, right? So I think front court, the last guy, for me, I really think it's between Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant. Now, could they go ahead and give it to Victor Wembanyama just because, once again, like LeBron, he is super hyped up and has a lot of fan base global around the world in France, and everybody loves Wemby and likes to hype him up a ton. So I think play-wise, it's between Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis, and I would give the slight edge to Kevin Durant just because I think he's playing on a slightly better team. And I do think he's been slightly better than Anthony Davis. Now we go to the backcourt here, and I feel like it's really between three names. I think it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, and Steph Curry. I mean, if we're talking about name value, you have to talk about Steph Curry. He's probably the most known, well-recognized, and just biggest player in the NBA at the guard position. Do I think he's going to get that all-star starter spot? I don't think so. I think it's actually going to go to Shai and Luka Doncic as well. I think this season, both these guys have been a lot better than Steph Curry. Shai is going to be a top 3 MVP candidate. I think Luka could also potentially finish in that top 3 to 5 as well. Where when you look at a guy like Steph Curry, sure, Curry's been great this season. He's still Steph Curry. He has that name recognition. And, I do think he could be considered for an all-star starter in the Western Conference in that backcourt. But I'm just going to give the slight edge to Luka and Shai. So for me, guys, these are going to be my 5 all-star starters in the Western Conference. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about my 5 starters in the West? So I think in the East, we also start with the obvious guy, the guy that I think for sure is going to be an all-star starter and will probably get the most votes in the Eastern Conference, and he kind of has been for the past couple seasons at least, and that's going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, Giannis is seriously having an MVP season. We talk about Nikola Jokic a ton, but Giannis is right there with Jokic. I think he's for sure going to be top 2 in MVP voting, and I think the season he's having is unbelievable. I mean, the Bucks just won the NBA Cup. He played amazing in all 7 of those games or whatever it was. Now, for the second player in the East in that front court, I think the obvious choice is Jason Tatum. He is having a much improved season compared to last year. I'm not a huge Jason Tatum fan. He probably won't be getting my actual vote, I will say, but I do think you still have to give that love and that respect to Tatum for the season that he's having. He's averaging almost 30 points per game while grabbing you 9 rebounds and 5.5 assists on the probably best team in the NBA. The Boston Celtics are looking unstoppable. I know they just lost to the Bulls last night as I'm recording this video, but still, the Celtics to me are the best team in the NBA. Tatum has been improved from last year, and I think, he's got a good fan base. The Celtics have a pretty strong, loyal fan base. Now, for the last guy in the front court in the Eastern Conference for the All-Star game, there's a lot of names to choose from, and I don't think there's necessarily a standout guy. And I probably would have given it to Paolo Banchero if he was healthy and still having that unbelievable start to the season that he had. I think I would go ahead and give it to Paolo. I love his game. He's super fun to watch. But because of the injury, I'm actually going to go with Karl Anthony Towns. Now, I know that might sound surprising and maybe a lot of people disagree with that choice, but I think Cat is having a super slept on season. I don't think many people are really talking about Cat and just how good he's been for this New York Knicks team. He's averaging the most rebounds in the NBA, which again isn't really getting talked about much. He's averaging 14.2 rebounds while giving you 25 points per game and also shooting a crazy efficient from three, 46%. And he is also still playing on one of the better teams in the NBA in the New York Knicks, while also shooting 53.5% from the field. So all around, I think Cat's having an improved year compared to last year. We talk about the backcourt here, and I honestly would have given LaMelo Ball a huge shout if he didn't get injured, because I think he fits the All-Star game model perfectly. He's super flashy, really fun to watch, and he's been averaging 30 points a game, but he did get injured, and he had a rough game back in his first game back from injury. So I think I'm going to leave LaMelo Ball out of the starters, but I think he for sure will definitely be a bench or for sure a reserve. I think definitely a bench spot for LaMelo Ball. Now, I also want to give some love to Tyler Hero, even though I'm kind of going over some honorable mentions here. Guys like Tyler Hero and guys like Damian Lillard playing amazing. I mean, Dame, just like Giannis, won the NBA Cup. He played great in all those games, and Tyler Hero has been putting up some ridiculous scoring numbers. But I got to go Donovan Mitchell just because he's playing on the Cleveland Cavaliers, who still have the best record in the NBA as I'm recording this video and still look like one of the best teams in the league. And Donovan Mitchell is a huge reason for that, and I think he's having a great year. So for me, I'm going to give it to Donovan Mitchell. And then the second spot, I'm going to go Jalen Brunson. I think he's also having a really good year in the East on this Knicks squad, and I think both these guys are deserving in the backcourt for the Eastern Conference. But guys, this is who I think will be the All-Star starters for 2025. But hopefully guys did enjoy the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.